Hey there, fellow Americans. Breaking news that could put extra money in your pocket. $2,600 economic impact payments are heading your way if you're a Social Security recipient. Imagine checking your mailbox and finding a debit card loaded with $2,600. Sounds too good to be true? Well, stick around because I'm about to break down everything you need to know about these payments. But before we dive in, if you want to stay updated on the latest financial news and benefits that could impact your wallet, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Have you been wondering why the government is choosing debit cards this time instead of direct deposits or paper checks? The answer might surprise you. The Treasury Department has determined that debit cards are not only more secure but also provide greater flexibility for recipients. Think about it: no more waiting for checks to clear or dealing with bank processing times. These economic impact payment (EIP) cards, as they're officially called, will function just like any other debit card you have in your wallet, allowing you to make purchases, withdraw cash, or even transfer the funds to your bank account. But who exactly qualifies for these payments? This is where things get interesting. The primary focus is on Social Security recipients, including those receiving retirement benefits, disability benefits, SSDI, and supplemental security income, SSI. But there's more to the story than just being a Social Security beneficiary. Your eligibility also depends on factors like your adjusted gross income from your most recent tax return. For individuals, the income threshold is set at $75,000, while married couples filing jointly must earn less than $150,000 to receive the full amount. What happens if you earn more? Don't worry, I'll explain the phase-out ranges in detail. Let's talk about the timing because I know that's what's on everyone's mind. The Treasury Department has announced that the first batch of debit cards will begin hitting mailboxes this month. But here's the catch: they're being sent out in waves based on various factors, including geographical location and last name. Are you wondering where your card is in the queue? I've got the inside scoop on the mailing schedule, including which states are first in line and how long it might take for your card to arrive. Now, you might be asking yourself, what's the catch? Or is this going to affect my regular Social Security payments? Let me put your mind at ease. These economic impact payments are completely separate from your regular Social Security benefits. They won't reduce your monthly benefits or impact any other government assistance you might be receiving. In fact, these payments are technically considered tax credits, which means they won't be counted as income for determining eligibility for federal benefits programs. Isn't it refreshing to get good news about government benefits for once? Security is a major concern whenever we're dealing with financial matters, especially with debit cards being sent through the mail. How can you protect yourself from potential fraud? The Treasury Department has implemented several security measures to ensure your EIP card arrives safely and can only be activated by you. I'll share some essential tips on how to identify your legitimate EIP card versus potential scams. Did you know that scammers are already trying to take advantage of this situation? I'll tell you exactly what red flags to watch for and how to report suspicious activity. When you receive your EIP card, activation is crucial. But how exactly do you do it? The process is straightforward, but there are some important steps you can't miss. You'll need to call a specific toll-free number and provide some personal information to verify your identity. What information will you need to have ready? I'll walk you through the entire activation process step by step, including how to set up your PIN and what to do if you encounter any issues during activation. Let's talk about fees because nobody likes unexpected charges. The good news is that most standard transactions with your EIP card are completely free. This includes purchases at stores, online shopping, and ATM withdrawals at in-network locations. But what about other types of transactions? Are there any hidden fees you should know about? I'll break down all the potential fees and show you how to avoid them entirely. Would you believe that some people paid unnecessary fees with previous EIP cards simply because they didn't know their options? One of the most common questions I'm getting is about the card's expiration date. Unlike the stimulus payments we saw during the height of the pandemic, these EIP cards come with a specific validity period. How long do you have to use the funds? What happens if you don't spend all the money before the card expires? Don't worry, I've got all the answers about expiration dates and what you need to do to ensure you don't lose access to your funds. Many people are also curious about what happens if they lose their card or if it gets stolen. The good news is that there's a clear process for replacing lost or stolen cards. But timing is crucial. How quickly should you report a lost card? What's the fastest way to get a replacement? I'll explain the exact steps you need to take and how long you can expect to wait for your replacement card. Did you know that you might be able to get emergency cash access while waiting for your replacement? Let's discuss the various ways you can use your EIP card. The flexibility is impressive. You can use it anywhere that accepts Visa debit cards, which means millions of locations worldwide. But what about online shopping? Bill payments? Transferring money to your bank account? I'll show you all the different ways you can put your $2,600 to work. Have you considered setting up recurring bill payments with your EIP card? I'll explain how this could simplify your monthly expenses. Now, let's tackle some tax implications because I know this is causing anxiety for many people. Will you need to report this payment on your taxes? Could it affect your tax refund next year? The answers might surprise you. I'll explain exactly how these payments are treated for tax purposes and what documentation you should keep. Would you believe that some people unnecessarily paid taxes on previous stimulus payments because they didn't understand the rules? For those of you who share financial responsibilities with family members, you might be wondering about adding authorized users to your EIP card. Is it possible? What are the pros and cons? I'll explain the options available for families who want to share access to these funds. Have you thought about how this could affect your household budgeting? I'll share some strategies for making the most of these funds as a family unit. But what if you prefer not to use a debit card at all? Don't worry, you have options. I'll explain how you can transfer the entire balance to your bank account and what to consider before making this decision. Did you know that some banks offer special incentives for depositing stimulus funds? I'll tell you which banks are offering the best deals and how to take advantage of them. Let's also address some common misconceptions about these economic impact payments. There's a lot of misinformation circulating on social media, and I want to make sure you have the facts. What rumors should you ignore? What legitimate concerns should you pay attention to? I'll help you separate fact from fiction so you can make informed decisions about your payment. For those of you who are caregivers or representatives for Social Security recipients, there are special considerations you need to know about. How do you handle an EIP card for someone you care for? What documentation do you need? What additional steps might be required? I'll walk you through the specific requirements and responsibilities for representative payees and how to ensure compliance with all regulations. Some of you might be wondering about the timing of these payments in relation to other benefits or financial obligations. How might this impact your budget planning? Should you adjust your current financial strategies? I'll share some expert tips on how to integrate these funds into your existing financial plan and make the most of this opportunity. Let's also discuss what to do if you believe you're eligible but don't receive your EIP card. There's a specific process for tracking and claiming missing payments. What documentation will you need? How long should you wait before taking action? I'll explain the steps to take and who to contact if your payment doesn't arrive as expected. For those of you who are tech savvy, you'll be pleased to know that these EIP cards come with some modern features. Have you heard about the mobile app that lets you manage your card? What about digital wallet integration? I'll show you how to take advantage of these technological features to make managing your funds easier and more secure. It's also important to understand how these economic impact payments fit into the broader economic recovery effort. Why is the government choosing to distribute funds now? How might this impact the economy as a whole? I'll provide some context about the economic factors driving these payments and what they might mean for future financial assistance programs. Let's not forget about local resources that might be available to help you maximize these funds. Did you know that many communities offer free financial counseling services? What about workshops on budgeting and debt management? I'll share information about additional resources you can tap into to make the most of your economic impact payment. For those of you thinking about long-term financial planning, let's discuss how these funds might fit into your broader financial goals. Should you save some of the money? Invest it? Pay down debt? I'll walk you through different scenarios and help you think strategically about how to use these funds to improve your financial future. What about emergency expenses? While we all hope to use these funds strategically, life sometimes throws us curveballs. How should you prioritize unexpected expenses if they arise? I'll share some guidelines for balancing immediate needs with long-term financial planning when using your economic impact payment. Some of you might be wondering about the impact on other household members. What if multiple people in your household receive Social Security benefits? How might this affect household income calculations for other benefits programs? I'll explain how these payments interact with other forms of assistance and what you need to know about household reporting requirements. Let's also address some international considerations. What if you're a Social Security recipient living abroad? Can you still use your EIP card? Are there any special requirements or restrictions? I'll explain everything international recipients need to know about accessing and using their funds. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize the importance of staying informed about these payments and any future financial assistance programs. How can you make sure you don't miss important updates? Where should you look for reliable information? I'll share my top tips for staying up to date on financial news that could affect your benefits. Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to managing your finances. Have you thought about setting up a system to track your EIP card spending? What about creating a plan for making the most of these funds? I'll share some final thoughts on financial organization and planning that could help you maximize the impact of this payment. Thank you for staying with me through this comprehensive guide to the $2,600 economic impact payments. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this video with anyone who might benefit from this information. Drop your questions in the comments below. I read every single one and try to address them in future videos. Until next time, stay financially savvy.